Handheld gaming PCs like the Lenovo Legion Go S have been around for a while, but it was only in the last couple of years that they've blown up in popularity, thanks in large part to the Steam Deck. Ever since Valve's Linux-based handheld hit the market, mainstream PC makers have been putting their own spins on the concept, and the Legion Go S is aiming closer to the Steam Deck than something like, well, the original Legion Go. Unlike Lenovo's previous handheld, there will be a version of the Legion Go S coming out later this year that will be running Steam OS, the Linux distro that powers the Steam Deck. It'll mark the first handheld gaming PC other than Valve's that runs this OS out of the box, but the one we reviewed here is running plain old Windows 11. What's up, Windows 11? Good to see ya. And among similarly priced Windows 11 handhelds, the $729 Lenovo Legion Go S struggles to keep up with the competition. The Lenovo Legion Go S looks more like the Asus ROG Ally than it does the original Legion Go. Rather than having complex removable controllers like the original, the Legion Go S is a singular unit. This is a tried and true design concept at this point, but it also makes the Lenovo Legion Go S much easier to use, for the most part. The edges of the chassis are much more round, which makes the Go S extremely comfortable to hold over long gaming sessions, almost making up for the significant weight of the device. Due to the size of the display and the cooling solution, the Legion Go S weighs 1.61 pounds. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it does add up, especially when you're expected to hold this thing up in your hands while you're using it. For that added weight, the Lenovo Legion Go S does provide a frankly huge display for what it is. The handheld sports an 8-inch 1200p IPS display that's rated for 500 nits of brightness. It is gorgeous. This might be one of the best displays in a handheld gaming PC, with only something like the Steam Deck OLED outclassing it. The Legion Go S does absolutely look like it's been taking notes from other handhelds over the last year or so, but that doesn't stop it from being a gorgeous device. Each joystick also has an RGB lighting ring around it, which is extremely bright right out of the box. However, if you don't want your handheld blinking rainbow lights at you, configuring them is as easy as hitting a button and, then digging through the on-screen menu. While it has way fewer buttons, the layout of the Lenovo Legion Go S is much more intuitive than its clunky cousin. Rather than having the start and select buttons on one side of the display, unlike any other controller under the sun ever, maybe, they now have a much more standard placement on either side of the display. However, for some reason, Lenovo placed its own menu buttons above them on either side, and we definitely brought up the Legion software when trying to pause a game more than once. That is absolutely something you will get used to over time as your muscle memory adjusts to the device, but it is a growing pain nonetheless. The bespoke Lenovo menu buttons are useful though. The one on the right will bring up a quick menu where you can change everything from screen brightness to how much power is being pumped into the AMD Z2 Go, powering the system. It also houses a bunch of shortcuts that will let you do things like hit Alt plus F4 or open Task Manager without needing to memorize some arcane combination of buttons to hit. Lenovo also brought back the touchpad from the original Legion Go, but shrunk it down considerably. Now it's a hilariously tiny little square that you can use to simulate mouse input. There's a lot of empty space around it, so we're a little baffled that it needed to be so very small, but it makes navigating Windows a bit harder than on the original Legion Go. Lenovo's other special button on the left side of the display will bring up the Legion Space software. This app should do pretty much anything to do with managing the system, including checking for driver updates and housing your gaming library across all of today's disparate launchers. Love that. On the back of the Legion Go S, there are requisite programmable paddle buttons. They're much clickier than the ones in the original Legion Go, but have more resistance, which will make them harder to press on accident. Then right below the triggers, there are a couple of levers that let you change the travel distance of the triggers. However, unlike something like the Xbox Elite controller, there are only two settings: full travel and barely any movement. A bit more granular adjustment would have been nice. The top of the handheld has two USB 4 ports, which can be used to either charge the device or connect peripherals. The bottom of the device has a micro SD card slot in the center of the device. It's a weird place to put an SD card reader, especially if you plan on ever having this thing in a dock. The Legion Go S is the first handheld gaming PC on the market to use the new AMD Z2 Go APU. That makes it hard to come up with a direct comparison, but looking at the specs, it's clear that it's not going to set the world on fire. The Z2 Go is essentially a Zen 3 processor with 4 cores and 8 threads, paired with a RDNA 2 GPU with 12 graphics cores. Those are old technologies for a chip launching in 2025. The Legion Go S does have a slightly bigger battery than the original Legion Go, with 55 watt-hours of capacity. However, in the PC Mark 10 battery test, the Legion Go S only lasts 4 hours and 29 minutes, down from 4 hours and 53 minutes in the original Legion Go. So, despite having a weaker chipset and a lower resolution display, it actually loses battery life. This is likely due to the older Zen 3 CPU architecture, which is a bit less efficient than the Zen 4 cores in the Legion Go's Z1 Extreme. In games, the Lenovo Legion Go S fares a little better, as long as you're willing to dial resolution down to 800p with medium quality settings. The Lenovo Legion Go S has no problems playing most AAA games with a comfortable 30 to 40 FPS. However, this isn't exactly the handheld we'd recommend for anyone that wants to play the latest big budget games with everything cranked up. For that, you're better off waiting for the systems with the Z2 Extreme later this year. At first glance, it almost seems like the Lenovo Legion Go is supposed to be something akin to a Legion Go Lite. After all, it's using the AMD Z2 Go APU, the weakest chip in AMD's next-gen handheld lineup. The Legion Go S is also smaller, admittedly, not by much, and doesn't have the original's complicated removable controllers. Now you would think all of this would make the Lenovo Legion Go S a more affordable handheld gaming PC, but it isn't. It boggles the mind that Lenovo would charge more for a handheld with a lower resolution display and a weaker APU. Yes, it bumps the RAM up to 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5, but that extra memory does little when paired with its weaker processor, especially because Lenovo didn't reserve any of that RAM for the GPU. In other words, the Legion Go S that exists right now just doesn't make sense. For more PC gaming goodness, check out our review of NVIDIA's RTX 5080 GPU, and for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.